Want to keep up with the latest LEGO Maker 96.1 videos? Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Also, check out LEGO Maker Gaming. Link is in the description. Hello everyone, LEGO Maker 96.1 here with another video. And welcome back to another On This Day in History. It was on this day in history in 1863, the Battle of Stones River, aka Murfreesboro, came to an end. Yeah, hard to believe this battle lasted from December 31st, 1862 on New Year's Eve, lasted through the January 1st, 1861, and ended on January 2nd, 1863. Yeah, hard to close out the new year with a battle, huh? Well, this battle was fought in Tennessee, near Murfreesboro. But with all that out of the way, here's the video. It was December 31st, 1862. While families in the North and South prepare for a somber new year, 76,000 men that were walking up in the frozen woods of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They weren't preparing for a celebration. They were preparing for one of the most lethal clashes of the American Civil War, the Battle of Stones River. Now, before I go on, let me go on to say this. It's the same place, just under a different name, like with Shiloh, Pittsburgh Landing, Antietam, Sharpsburg, Murfreesboro, Stones River. So in other words, same place, same battle, different name.
And all are true.
So there you go. Now, Union General William Stark Rosecrans was under immense pressure by President Abraham Lincoln to deliver a victory after the Union Army of the Potomac's disastrous defeat at Fredericksburg in December of 1862. Across the field, Confederate General Braxton Bragg was ready to stop him. On the morning of the 31st, the Confederates struck first. A massive dawn assault smashed into the Union right flank, unfolding it back like a pocket knife. For a while, the Union line teetered on the edge of total collapse. The fighting was immense. The fighting was so immense, it centered on a cedar glade now known as the Slaughter Pen. Union troops held a critical position called the Round Forest, the only part of the original line that didn't break. After 2 days of stalemate, on the final failed Confederate charge on January 2nd, Bragg retreated. It wasn't a total tactical defeat, but strategically, it changed everything. Stones River had the highest percentage of casualties of any major battle in the war. But more importantly, it gave Lincoln a political win he needed, and just as the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect on January 1st, 1861. Yeah, that also happened yesterday, New Year's Day. Now, a little brief history on the Emancipation Proclamation and what led to it. As many of you may be aware of, the United States had slavery. African Americans back then were pretty much in slavery. And slavery is wrong. And today, it's still wrong. Don't blame me. Watch Roots, watch 12 Years of a Slave, and read every single book on slavery and hear accounts from former slaves, and they'll tell you how bad slavery was. And to all of you out there, oh, slavery was real. It was real in the United States. And today, even though slavery was abolished in the U.S., slavery is still wrong. Even around the world, slavery is wrong. So just get clarified. Slavery is wrong. But that New Year's Eve, December 31st, we remember the men who stood their ground on the frozen mud of Tennessee. But as for the casualties, the casualties tend to differ from various sources. Now, according to Wikipedia, the strength of the Union Army was 43,400 men, and the Confederates 35,000 men. The result was almost the same as it was from Wikipedia. According to the American Battlefield Trust, the Union Army had 41,400 men, the Confederates the same amount of men. That leaves a total of 76,000, even more than that. But as for the casualties in that fight, the Union Army lost 13,906 total. This includes 1,677 dead, 7,543 wounded, and 4,686 captured or missing. The Confederates, 11,739. This includes 1,294 killed, 7,945 wounded, 2,500 captured or missing. 2,500 means 2,500 for those who don't know. But for the American Battlefield Trust, it's sort of the same. The Union Army lost 12,906, the Confederates 11,739. That leaves a total of 24,647. That's crazy. Now, the local spots on the battlefield, the slaughter pen. This was one of the most keen locations on a battlefield. A dense cedar thicket and where a limestone outcropping made the terrain nearly impassable. The fighting there was often hand-to-hand. Hand-to-hand during the Civil War, in fact in any war, is mainly using the butt of their guns, fighting knives, bayonets, hands, feet, you name it. And around woods got itself another name, known as Hell's Half Acre, a small patch of woods that became the pivot point of the Union line. If this had fallen, the Union Army would have been destroyed. Though here's the fact that you didn't know in regards to that battle. On the night of December 30th, just before New Year's Eve, the two armies, the Union Army of the Cumberland and the Confederate Army of Tennessee, were camped so close together that their brass bands began a musical duet. Now, before I go on, the Civil War had a lot of songs. Some of them may you remember, like the Battle Hymn of the Republic, there's Dixie, When Johnny Comes Marching Home, Goober Peas, Battle Cry of Freedom, Stonewall Jackson's Way, just to name a few. But on that night, the Union Army band played Yankee Doodle, the Confederates Dixie. But one band played Home Sweet Home, and soldiers from both sides joined in singing together before trying to kill each other the next morning. Yeah, both sides loved the same song. Like both sides loved the Reina, Home Sweet Home, just to name a few. There were a lot of songs for that war, what can I say? But for the political significance, Abraham Lincoln wrote to General Rosecrans saying, "I can never forget while I remember anything that about the end of last year and the beginning of this, you gave us a hard-earned victory which, and had there been a defeat instead, the nation could scarcely have lived over." That was intense. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And that concludes this video. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, including many other videos that I've done on my channel, please feel free to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell notifications so that way you can be notified when I upload the next video. And as always, this is LEGO Mega 96-1, signing off.